Insecurity rarely looks the way you think it does. It doesn't always show up as shyness, self-doubt, or someone who struggles to make eye contact. Sometimes insecurity looks like arrogance. Sometimes it looks like control. Sometimes it looks like the loudest, most confident person in the room. And that's exactly what makes it so easy to miss and so important to understand. Because once you know what you're really looking at, you'll start seeing it everywhere. In the people around you, in relationships, in the workplace, and if you're being honest with yourself, maybe even in the mirror. Stay with me. This one is going to change the way you read people. Sign number 1, they constantly seek reassurance. The first secret sign of an insecure person is an almost bottomless need for reassurance. They need to be told they look good, that they made the right decision, that people like them. And it's never quite enough. The validation fades quickly and the need returns. You'll notice it in how they fish for compliments or how they ask the same question in slightly different ways, hoping for the answer they want to hear. Was I okay in that meeting? Do you think they like me? Did I do the right thing? The reassurance they seek from others is something they're unable to give themselves, and that gap never fully closes, no matter how much they receive. Sign number 2, they are threatened by other people's success. An insecure person finds it genuinely difficult to celebrate other people's wins, especially when those people are close to them. A friend gets promoted, and instead of feeling happy for them, they feel quietly diminished. A colleague receives praise, and they immediately look for a reason to undermine it. A partner succeeds, and rather than feeling proud, they feel unsettled. This isn't always obvious. It can look like subtle dismissal, like, "Oh, that's great, but..." or a sudden change in mood when someone else is in the spotlight. Insecure people experience other people's success as a threat to their own worth because deep down they believe life is a competition with only one winner. Sign number 4, they overcompensate with arrogance. This is one of the most misunderstood signs because arrogance is so often mistaken for genuine confidence, but real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. Arrogance, on the other hand, is loud, relentless, and exhausting because it's working overtime to cover something up. The person who constantly talks about their achievements, drops their salary into conversations, name drops relentlessly, or always has a bigger story than yours is not a secure person. They are performing a version of themselves they desperately need you to believe in. The louder the performance, the deeper the insecurity underneath it. Sign number 4, they struggle to accept criticism. Secure people can hear feedback without falling apart. Insecure people cannot, because their sense of self is far too fragile. Even the gentlest, most well-intentioned criticism lands like a personal attack. They become defensive, deflect, make excuses, or flip the criticism back onto the person who gave it. Some go silent, others escalate. What you're watching is someone whose identity is tied entirely to being seen as capable, liked, or right. Any challenge to that identity, however small, triggers a disproportionate response because the stakes for them feel enormous. Sign number 5, they are people pleasers. People-pleasing might look kind and selfless on the surface, but it is very often rooted in deep insecurity. The people-pleaser says yes when they mean no. They shrink their opinions to avoid conflict. They apologize for things that aren't their fault. They mold themselves to whoever they're with, always adjusting, always accommodating, because their deepest fear is that if they show their real self, people won't stay. Their kindness comes with a hidden price tag. They are not giving freely. They are managing how they are perceived. And over time, that inauthenticity takes a heavy toll on their mental health and their relationships. Sign number 6, they are controlling. Control is one of the most telling and least discussed signs of insecurity. When a person feels deeply uncertain about their own worth, they compensate by trying to control the environment around them. This might look like controlling a partner's friendships or appearance. It might look like a manager who micromanages every detail. It might look like someone who always needs plans done their way. At the root of all of it is fear. Fear that if things are left unchosen, they will be rejected, left behind, or exposed. Control is not power. It is anxiety wearing a mask. Sign number 7, they talk negatively about others constantly. Pay close attention to how someone talks about other people when those people aren't in the room. An insecure person needs to put others down to lift themselves up. Gossip, criticism, and judgment of others become a way of temporarily feeling better about themselves by comparison. They mock people's choices, pick apart appearances, and highlight other people's failures with just a little too much enthusiasm. This is not confidence. This is someone trying to build themselves up by tearing the ground down beneath everyone else. Truly secure people have no need to diminish others. Their self-worth doesn't depend on it. Sign number 8, they cannot handle being alone. An insecure person often finds it almost impossible to sit comfortably in their own company. They fill every silence with noise. They jump from one relationship to the next without taking time to process. They are constantly busy, constantly distracted, constantly reaching for their phone, not because they are social, but because stillness forces them to sit with the version of themselves they are running from. Being alone means being with their own thoughts, their own doubts, their own self-image. And for an insecure person, that is an uncomfortable place to be. Sign number 9, they react badly to boundaries. When you set a boundary with an insecure person, whether it's time, energy, or emotional space, they often react with hurt, guilt-tripping, or anger. This is because they interpret your boundary as rejection. If you need space, it means you don't care. If you say no, it means you don't value them. Their emotional responses are filtered entirely through the lens of their own insecurity, which makes healthy boundary setting feel like an attack. The inability to respect someone else's boundaries is almost always a sign that the person does not feel secure enough in the relationship or in themselves to trust that the relationship can survive limits. Sign number 10, they compare themselves to everyone. The final secret sign is constant comparison, and it runs in 2 directions. Sometimes they compare themselves upward, fixating on people who have more, look better, or seem more successful. This leaves them feeling perpetually inadequate. Sometimes they compare themselves downward, seeking out people they can feel superior to in order to temporarily feel better about themselves. Either way, the comparison is constant. Social media becomes a highlight reel of everything they lack. Other people's lives become a measuring stick for their own. They are never fully present in their own life because they are always measuring it against someone else's. Genuine security means measuring yourself against who you were yesterday, not against the curated image of someone else. Insecurity is one of the most universal human experiences and one of the most misunderstood. It shows up in ways that can look like strength, confidence, or indifference, when underneath it is anything but. And sometimes the person worth looking at most closely is yourself. That kind of self-awareness is where real growth begins. Thanks for watching Behind the Ego. If this video gave you a new way of seeing someone in your life or yourself, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need it. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 10 signs surprised you the most? And have you ever caught yourself doing any of them without realizing it? Be honest, this is a safe space. I read every single comment, and I would love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one.